Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome into the channel. My name is Brent with Invested on the Go. Today we're covering week 20 of our update of living out of our portfolio using Robinhood. Now we have 5 different areas today. I don't have any income that we had this past week in week 20, but we have a lot of X dividends coming up in the following week. So stick around. We're going to be covering lots of dividends next week. Now this week, we're going to go ahead and do a quick summary of the market update, our buys and sells. We did a ton of buys and sells and reallocating our portfolios a bit within my retirement account. So we'll take a look at that. We'll dive into the dividend portfolio, seeing exactly where we're at this week going forward. Then we'll just dive into Robinhood's, my individual account, my retirement accounts, and take a look at the breakdown. And I'll explain a little bit of why I made these changes in my buys and sells. And then going forward, my upcoming plans. One big win that I had this week that was unexpected. We talked about it a bit last week as far as some of my goals, and it actually came into fruition this week. So I'll go ahead and share that with you guys. So with that said, if you guys are brand new here to the channel, definitely go down below, smash that subscribe, smash that thumbs up. Let me know down in the comment section below if you guys are buying anything specific this past week or this upcoming week, or just kind of dollar cost averaging normal or waiting for that continued pullback. Let me know down in the comment section below. Check out the pinned comment to join the Discord server, and let's go ahead and get into the market update. So really quick across the board, inflation numbers came out. PPI inflation rose to 6%. Expectations were 4.9. Core PPI inflation rose to a solid 5.2. That's huge. I believe that's the highest inflation number since back in 2022. It was, expectations are 4.3. We've seen that across the board. If you go shopping right now in the grocery section, I saw eggs again back at $12. I got screenshots. I was looking. I buy a lot of organic food. Organic eggs, a dozen was $11.99 for some pasture raised eggs, and meats out there, beef, very expensive. So, or inflation numbers came out. War wise, not a lot of chatter. We did see, continued action between Israel, Lebanon, and President Trump went over to China. He took along 17 CEOs. There was a lot of that discussed. If you check out my Instagram, I post on Instagram every single day as far as what is going on throughout the day. So if you're looking for a specific event that took place during that specific day with the Iran war, check out the Instagram page. It's continuing to grow. And some of the main highlights here, what the U.S. got was a statement from China saying that the Hormuz must remain open, that Iran should never have a nuclear weapon, that China's restoration of beef trade, and if they could help, then they would like to help with the restoration of the reopening of the strait. And then the U.S. invited China's president to the White House on September 24th. And essentially what China got was continued access to technology discussions, NVIDIA chips, friendlier trade environments. We also saw a few other little things within the business sector. That thing there was NVIDIA. I saw a little article floated out there. So deeper China engagement and the public commitment to cut off Iranian oil. Yeah, there was no public commitment to cut off Iranian oil, although I saw an article floated out that Trump had said, hey, you guys should begin buying oil from us. But I don't think that would drive up supply and demand for oil, driving up prices as well, which I think the U.S. would get shocked with a bit more. We'll see. Let me know down in the comment section below if you think that would be the case as well. But I don't think it would be a good idea. Taiwan was never publicly mentioned. I did see a couple of reporters questioning Trump and Xi, and neither one of them mentioned or talked individually about Taiwan. So that's kind of that silence may be the biggest deal of it all. And then hopping over to the charts, we did see that sell-off going from Thursday into Friday. From a high there on Thursday, yes, we hit a new all-time high there on Thursday before falling down from that high on, till early morning here Friday at 6:40. We saw a decline of around 1.45%. The market did look like it was making some recovery there on Friday. I was watching the market on Friday as well. I was like, okay, hey, we popped a little bit higher. We didn't pull back to those lows. We popped a little bit higher. This is good. Then it sold off near those early Friday lows and continued to sit around there. I'm still kind of eyeing my price here around 729, 730. Is that as long as we keep above 730 on SPY. I think we have more momentum to the upside, but we really have to breathe out. We are looking at the past 3 months. We've essentially had 7 weeks of solid gains. And this little pullback is just needed. The market really needs to breathe. If we can trend sideways for a bit, consolidate, then it'll feel better when the market does continue moving higher. Right now, we just had a huge run up of, I believe, 17 to 19% from these lows to these highs. Yeah, about 19%. So this tiny little pullback here of 1 point some percent, 1.3%, it's needed and expected. And if we could just move through this next week, if we pull back another 1-2%, that would probably be, let me see, we drop it down to around 130, about a 1%. So if we wiggle down about 1%, we kind of keep above that 125, I think we'll be fine to have that movement continue to the upside. Let's see here, popping back, not a whole lot more to discuss here in terms of the market. So if you guys have any comments or questions specifically about the market, drop them in the comment section below. I didn't have any income this week. Portfolio is going ex-dividend in this upcoming week, so definitely stick around. We're going to have thousands of dollars rolling into the account, and we'll have a whole video discuss of what we're planning to do with that. Now, our buys and sells. Now, I don't have it all screenshotted individually. So what I did this week is really ask myself, what do I want to have my retirement accounts focused on? And that was growth. Growth. Not so much the income. Income, that's what my individual account's for. So I wanted my retirement account to only be focused on growth. Okay. So with that in mind, I decided to liquidate a lot of holdings within my retirement accounts, my IRA, my Roth IRA. I went ahead, removed Netflix out of the account. That's completely gone now. I was holding it for a short minute, and after this sell down right through here, I picked it up and it's just been trending a little bit lower. I don't mind getting rid of it, tossing it out. It could make some recovery here in the future, but as of now, I was okay, right? I lost a little bit of money on that selling out over here. I lost about $2,500 just between the two accounts. And then again, I asked myself, do I really need income in these accounts in order for me to track that income, take the time to invest that income, or do I want to just focus these specific investments into growth? Because this is where my Roth 401k was rolled over. It was rolled over into my IRA, my Roth IRA. My 401k at the time had been mostly hands off. I didn't touch it. I didn't sell. I didn't buy any. It just continued to dollar cost average by drip in the holding that I had, which was the Fidelity S&P 500 Momentum Fund. So with that in mind, I wanted that exact same setup. I don't want to do any sort of additional buys and sells and be monitoring it. So what I did here is I sold out of those income sector specific ETFs. So the industrials, the utilities, the technology, the energy, the healthcare. I sold out of that all, even the AbbVie here. I took a little bit of a loss on a few of these. You can see here as I scroll through, we went down. There was some positive through here. There was some negative through here. So positives, right? My UNH position, I made about $1,700 on that. But overall, I was still down about $2,494 overall on selling these positions at the time. That Robinhood buy on TDAC, we did that earlier this week. I brought my share count up to $4,100 there. That increased our annual income, but we'll see that here in just a minute. And again, I took all the capital from all those individual, from Netflix, from AbbVie, from United Healthcare, and I rolled it into SPMO. This is the S&P 500 Momentum ETF. It was something that I was similar investment over in my Roth 401k. So I went ahead and picked up 302 shares within my Roth IRA and 235 shares within my IRA. And then I did have some capital remaining over within my Roth IRA. So I picked up 1 more share of Meta and 2 more shares of SPMO within my IRA. And you can see here, since these last buys, my TDAC that I bought earlier this week with my video earlier this week saying, hey, I did a lump sum investment of around almost $4,000 on Monday. So if the market is red this week or red this next week, you'll know exactly why. It's because I did a lump sum investment. And guess what happened this week? We were red. Market went red for the first time in a while. But either way, so there's 4,300 bucks dumped into SPMO. It's up 0.24, no big deal. It was up quite a bit higher into Thursday before pulling back down. And then the SPMO within my IRA up about 0.26. And then those additional purchases that I made, just 1 and 2 shares there on the 15th, which was yesterday on Friday. So those were all of our buys and sells that we did this week in week 20. There was a lot, but I really thought about how I wanted my portfolio on my retirement side to be mostly just hands off. I'll monitor and watch meta, but I'm going to let it build up long term. Buying it right around a cost basis of 607 to 611 was kind of the goal, to recapture a lot of the shares that I sold out of up at $711. And I'm just going to let it be for now. It has some really good earnings recently. If we look at Meta's last earnings, they were up 55% on their earnings per share, and their revenue was up solid at a 1.36 surprise. So they did really good. They came in line, beat on earnings, beat on revenue. So they're doing excellent. Sure, their capex is a bit expensive, but I believe that'll get adjusted here in the future. So we'll see how they are going forward. Next thing here, taking a look at our dividend portfolio, and then we'll jump into our Robinhood accounts to kind of match it up. So we have our dividend portfolio. Not a lot has changed since Monday's video. We only did one buy this week that affected this portfolio individually. And that was our 132 shares, or around $4,000 invested into TDAC. That brought our total shares to 4,100, increasing our monthly income by a whopping $46.20, and our yearly income by $554.40. So really nice right there. Another big change here is I opened up, I'll talk about this here where we jump into Robinhood, but just notice here, my cash balance in this account is $0. So keep that in mind. So our market value right on through here, we're still positive price-wise by 0.58%, despite being down with our T-SPY slightly here at 0.51, our gold down 3.05, and our BTCI down 28%. We can see here with the cash, the dividends that we've been paid out, our total realized gain and loss is around 4.74 to the upside. Although something that I don't keep track of, which I think is really difficult, is I'm paid out dividends within my account, and I pay down my mortgage, my credit card. I have this whole little, my command center in through here. The brokerage works as a core hub. I have my covered call ETFs, which generate income flowing into the account. I have all my daily expenses and bills go onto my Robinhood Gold card. It gets a nice 3%. I then pay down my credit card down to zero every single month. I pay down my mortgage, I pay down my car loan payment, and my brokerage account covers all of these expenses. The cash back goes directly back into the brokerage, and then I have that remaining excess capital. Now, I don't keep track of the excess capital that could be used to buy back more shares, because in the way that I'm currently running it, if I have an extra $400 remaining after paying down my expenses and I buy 8 more shares of TDAC, I'm not really investing new capital into the portfolio. This is capital that was paid out, return of capital that was paid out back to me. And although it is investing more money into the account, it's not money that I brought in specifically from outside sources, right? So I don't keep track of that specifically. So my total cost basis could be a lot lower. I didn't invest $351,000 of my own capital into this account. I believe when I started this account, it was closer to around 280,000 or so, but I don't know specifically where that amount is at. That's the thing right there. It's maybe a little bit crazy, but okay. So jumping into the next area here, the Robinhood live portfolio. So jumping into Robinhood, we can see here that we were doing pretty solid up until Friday. We had a solid portfolio. If we go ahead and add our 353, so 353, 450.42, and we add that loss that we took from Friday of $5,498.31. We were sitting right about 359,000, but that single day Friday brought our portfolio down by a good whopping amount. We are up a slightly after hours, but I don't really count that. And we can see here our cash earning interest in this account is now 0. What I'm going to do is have essentially 0 cash in this account earning interest. And what I did do is I made another account called my cash account. So what's going to happen here is that I'm going to have my mortgage and my car payment, and I think I may have another account, another direct draw, but I'm going to have excess cash from dividends. So anytime I get paid a dividend, it's going to get transferred into my cash account. And at the beginning of the month, my mortgage is going to get paid out. My car gets paid out on the 8th. I want to make sure that I have enough equity or capital to pay down the mortgage and the car loan, and then any excess that'll be targeted towards that credit card to pay that down to 0. And then that keeps a really easy way for me to know how much I have left over after paying down the credit card and the mortgage and the car loan. How much I have remaining will get sent back over to the individual account right around the 10th or so of the month. Once all the expenses and bills get paid down, I'll have the excess and then I'll send it over to my individual account, and then I'll buy up shares, and then it'll go through the process. It'll have those ex dividends, it'll pay out cash. I'll move it into this account. So by the end of the next month, it'll do the exact same thing over and over. And the way that I'm looking and reasoning for that is that I want to use a bit of margin within my individual account, and I can't go into the negative and use margin and then have my mortgage or car loan payments being pulled out, because it can't pull from margin, it can't pull from that debt. So I'm going to have it pull from actual cash, and then I'm going to start off by using $1,000 of margin to see how the process works when I'm living from my portfolio. I don't have any excess, a W-2 job with inflow of capital rolling in to pay down that margin. I want to just see the process of it with just $1,000 of margin, and then kind of see that process. So definitely stick around if you guys are interested in how margin would work when you don't have a 8 to 5, no W-2 income, and just kind of seeing, can margin be floated to have capital remaining over after the margin pay down, and all that stuff, and some things. So we'll get into the math of it all in some upcoming videos, so definitely stick around and subscribe for that. Everything here on the side matches up as it should. If we dive into our retirement accounts now, Roth IRA, as you can see, we made those changes. We sold out of all those income sector ETFs, and all I'm holding right now is 68 shares of Meta and 302 shares of SPMO. Here, I don't have any buying power. I used up every single thing I could. All the capital in this account is invested 100% of the time now. And yeah, we're up slightly on the week, 0.06% on the week. Yay, pat yourself on the back. I'm not in the red. Now, this past week, again, Meta, I own 81 shares here of Meta and 237 shares of SPMO within my IRA. So Roth IRA, Meta, and SPMO, IRA, Meta, and SPMO. And it has about $79 in here in this account that I can invest, but we'll see what I end up doing with that here in the future. So that's just kind of our live Robinhood portfolio breakdown and some of the reasonings for opening that second individual cash account on Robinhood, and why I reconsolidated my retirement accounts. Essentially, I want to focus those specifically on growth long term, not so much on income generation. I don't want to slow down the growth process of that. Those portfolios will probably hit $100,000 soon. Maybe by the end of this year, maybe next year, doesn't matter. But those portfolios are designed to just continue to grow over the next 20 years. I can't have access to my IRA or Roth IRA, right? I'm 40, about to be 41 here on the 19th. And that still gives me 19 years of appreciation to where I'll be able to draw those and move those into my individual account and essentially be doubling my individual account's income by the time those mature at 59 and a half. That's kind of the plan right there. Now, jumping into the last and final area here are big wins and some plans going forward. So big wins. We were talking about Facebook growth last week. My goal was to have my Facebook page monetized because I had been pumping out. I had 1 million views last month and continuing that trend into May of having between 900 to 1 million views so far in the month of May. And Instagram continued to pump that out. But as of Friday, I got an email that arrived in my account saying, hey, congrats. You're invited to start making money with our new content monetization program. So with your page, Brent Investing on the Go, you can now explore different ways to make money with your content on Facebook. So I've got a ton of emails in the past, some fake things, but when I saw this one, it looked credible, the page, the email. I said, okay. So I popped over to my dashboard, went to my monetization, and boom, I was able to turn on monetization on my Facebook page. And look at that. It's been a single day. It hasn't even been 24 hours. I made 22 cents off my Facebook page. So by continuing to post my reels, my post, right? Everything starts here on Instagram. I have been posting quite a bit here through Instagram. I post my daily recaps of the war. I post my little fin tips of the day, some little kind of meme things as well that don't get as much traction as say the war recaps, but it's just continued post and responding back. So talk about birthday presents, right? My YouTube channel got monetized. My Facebook page got monetized all in the month of May. So that kind of like an early birthday present to me there. So guys, that is going to be it for today's video. I do appreciate every one of you tuning in, hanging out. If you guys have any comments at all, drop them in the comment section down below. Otherwise, definitely check out the pinned comment down below to join the Discord server. It's completely free. Also, please smash the thumbs up, subscribe if you guys enjoyed the content. And that is it from me. I do appreciate everyone for tuning in and hanging out, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.